Welcome back to MTAG TV, guys. Huge day in store. I'm joined by the boys. Well, this is the second biggest game today. The biggest game was Brentford versus Swansea. Brentford in the Premier League. Get in there. And today we are covering the Champions League final. It's Chelsea versus Man City. I'm joined by these joke men. In the blue half, we've got Amogh. And in the slightly lighter blue shade, we've got Ritvik and Srini. Lineups are out. A lot of shockers. Ritvik, you want to read the City lineup?
Yeah, so for City, Edison starts in goal, Kyle Walker, John Stones, Ruben Diaz and Zinchenko are the back four. And now is where it gets tricky. Pep Guardiola is not playing a defensive midfielder. He's not playing Fernandinho. He's not playing Rodri. He's playing Gundogan over there, probably with Bernardo Silva and Kevin De Bruyne. And Sterling starts up front with Foden and Mahrez, and this is an absolute shock of him.
Well, Ritvik is not amused, but Amogh takes the Chelsea line away.
Yeah, so the Chelsea lineup seems pretty strong. We've got Werner up top. We've got Kai Havertz and Mason Mount, the attacking players. We've got the wing backs in Chilwell and Azpilicueta, probably. And Jorginho and Kante start, as well as we've got a back three of Rudiger, Silva, and Reece James. So, yeah, we've got a good, fluid team today, and I'm excited.
Okay, well, Amogh looks confident. Srini, I have to come to you first. What do you make of the lineup? Glaring omissions in there.
All right, so there's two big talking points, and I'll let Ritvik cover one of them, but I'll cover the talking point of no DM. Ritvik touched on that as well. It's an absolutely shocking decision, and I couldn't agree more. I mean, Ritvik off camera mentioned to us that, Chelsea are a counter-attacking team with the likes of N'Golo Kante really progressing them forward, with Timo Werner, making those incredible runs, using his amazing pace. And the fact that you haven't played someone to break play like a Rodri or a Fernandinho. I mean, Fernandinho is built for these games. You saw what he did against PSG. I mean, he is the only man who could commit 100 fouls and not get a yellow card. And apart from that, he is experienced. He is our captain. He can tone down the likes of Zinchenko when they actually pipe up. He is the perfect captain. And for him not to play in this game, or even a Rodri, is a very strange decision. Gundogan has played as a number 6, but he's more in the regista role. Like he's in that mold of a player. He's not someone who breaks play per se, because he's not a defensive midfielder, right? So it's a very strange call, and when you face a prime N'Golo Kante against you, to not have a defensive midfielder is shooting yourself in the foot. So I think it's a very poor decision. Ritvik, I'll go to you, bro. Raheem Sterling starting as a striker. We know he's never done well there. He's not been in good form as well. What do you make of that decision? Because False 9 FC have reached the Champions League final. So what's going on?
Yeah, I simply don't understand it. If you had to start a striker, start Aguero. I mean, he's been way better. Even Jesus works today, but not Sterling. Sterling has been by far, if we have 6 top front 6, out of our front 6, including the subs, he's been the worst. Even Ferran Torres is above him in terms of form right now. And we know that Sterling chokes in these games. I'm being blatant. I love Sterling, but he's not been the best player this season. And he does choke in big games. And no matter what his confidence is, no matter how experienced he is, you have a better experience in Fernandinho, and there's no way you can start Sterling over him, even if it means you sacrifice a striker for it. Because we won the league with that. We're in the Champions League final with that, formation and that style of play. And just to alter it just for this particular game doesn't make sense, because Chelsea are a counter-attacking team at the end of the day. So yeah, it's just I was hyped. I'm not hyped anymore.
Well, Chelsea fans are not happy. As Samrit said, Pep overthinking again. The City fans are not happy. And Amogh, I'm going to come to you, touching on the Chelsea lineup really quickly. No Pulisic and no Ziyech starting. I expected at least one of them. I'm sure you did. But Havertz in there. What do you make of the lineup?
I think what Tuchel is doing is playing a very fluid lineup. I think he's trying to, find the combinations of playing Werner up top, maybe as a false 9, or maybe Kai as, up top as a false 9, or Werner playing slightly higher up. I did expect Ziyech to play because he can read in between the lines. And I'm not still convinced of Jorginho, but with Kovacic, still getting back into form and after injury, I feel like, probably it's a safe bet to put him there. We know that Jorginho has his good days and bad days, and I'm just praying that he does well tonight. And besides that, our back three and our wing backs are same and consistent, and I trust them to push up with the counter attacks. And overall, I think we have kept this formation pretty fixed during our Champions League ties so far. So I think it was just the right, the safe bet to go ahead with this in a final.
All right, well, great points made there. I just want to touch upon quickly City's approach of how they're going to go into this game. Pep Guardiola's interview with Rio Ferdinand, he was touching about how Chelsea are so compact. They play a five at the back, and they can spread it wide, but they're also so narrow down the middle. It's looking like a pretty standard 5-2-1-2 in a way. Ritvik, I'm going to come to you first. Where do City try and win this game, knowing Chelsea are playing a five at the back?
To try to win this game, obviously you have to score goals. And to score goals, you have to create chances. And to create chances, you need your best players to have most of the ball, which is probably going to be City's approach, which has been City's approach throughout the season. I don't think there's going to be any change over there. I think Mahrez is going to try to exploit Chilwell as always. And Foden might play up front just to score those chances because he has been in good form. But I don't know, man. I'm just, I'm too just caught up in the news of Fernandinho not starting, and it's hitting me right now. But yeah, I think just to win the game, you just need to counter Chelsea's counter attack. Is one way of taking it. If you don't concede these goals, you can maybe get a chance to.
I just want to quickly, we've highlighted Anand's comment here. He said, I would have gambled on Ferran if I wanted a winger. Srini, I'm going to come to you. Ritvik's obviously in agreement. Do you agree with the Ferran Torres shout? And secondly, where does City win the game?
On the Ferran Torres shout, I think Anand was trying to say that if we wanted a striker, we'd go for Ferran Torres because Ferran Torres is someone who can be molded into a number 9. He showed that in the game against Newcastle. He scored an amazing hat-trick, and he just has that capability of, as Pep says, he has that smell for a goal. He has that natural goal-scoring instinct, which Sterling clearly does not have. Sterling's goal-scoring relies on his positioning. In this game, with Chelsea being as compact as they are, playing a five at the back, you won't find the space behind those defenders to actually get that space, which is why you need more technical players like a Riyad Mahrez, like a Phil Foden. Even if we had Leroy Sané, this is not the game for him. This is a game for your technical footballers to, as Pep said, play very close to each other and to almost make those spaces because you won't find them at all. So again, it's a very strange decision. But talking about how City approached the game, one thing that Chelsea do, which really gets under the skin of City, is keep the ball better than City at times. They are probably the only team in world football, probably apart from Bayern as well, who can compete with City possession-wise. And when that happens, City start to get frustrated. And that happened against PSG in the first half, and they clearly looked toothless. So City need to keep the ball, and they need to make sure that this game is played at a very, very slow pace. The more you can do that, the more you actually draw Chelsea in, and that doesn't allow them to counter, which is kind of 70% of the strategy anyway. So playing possession-based football and sticking to your principles never changes, and especially for a team that is on the verge of a treble. So yeah, man, the things stay the same. But as Ritvik said, I am pretty gutted, so I'm not gonna lie about that. Amogh, I had a question for you actually. So we're on the same WhatsApp group,
Okay.
and I do know that a certain Jorginho does annoy you because you know that he doesn't have the legs for these kinds of games. Sometimes he does, sometimes he really doesn't. This is a Champions League final. You have someone like Mateo Kovacic on the bench who can do a bit of everything. What do you make of that particular decision? Because if N'Golo Kante doesn't have a perfect game, City could still outrun you in midfield. So what's your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I've been very critical of Jorginho, especially in these last 3 to 5 games. He's been sort of lazy he has been lazy throughout the season, but when it comes to these crucial fixtures, he was just lazy at, giving the ball away in our own half, and it leads to goal-scoring opportunities for the opponents. And especially on that Leicester, in the final, Kante had pushed up so high, and he was playing back, and he was basically there when the ball was lost, and he just didn't make the run back to, block a Tillman shot. So, and against Arsenal, we know what happened there. And even, against Villa, I just saw him, panicking in that back line. So, it's really tough to say because, Man City are, having a lot of pace right now in the squad, especially with the starting lineup. I think, anyway, Sterling and Mahrez are very, they just know how to hold the ball as well as, pass it really quickly. So that's something that I'm really worried about with Jorginho, whether he can poke up and see whether he can mark maybe Foden if he comes in the middle, or if he's gonna really support Kante. And I feel like with Reece James as wingback, I mean, there could be a possibility where we'd see him probably push into midfield a little more, just so that Jorginho has a little freedom to go up ahead, and maybe Kante can sit back. So we've seen Reece James also play, as a defensive mid, and he can do that. But yeah, I mean, the talking point would be whether we can maybe use Jorginho as the key to bring that ball from our own half to counter-attacking threat. So I see that happening possibly because Werner has proven, at least in the FA Cup fixture with City, that he can run in between the lines and kill you. So there's a good chance of that. But yeah, KDB is starting. He's in good form. So yeah, we'll see who marks him. We'll see if we can recover the ball. And yeah, I honestly can't say. I mean, if he has a good night, then I think we can win it.
This guy.
Amogh is clearly gassed. Amogh, really quick question for you.
Yeah.
Looking at City's lineup, you guys have beaten them twice already this season, but those were not City's strongest sides. Coming into this, when I thought, okay, we're going to do live tonight, I'm going to ask Amogh, it's probably going to be City's best lineup. So, how do you prepare against that? But it's not. So do you stick to the same tactics that you used to beat them those two times, considering the fact that those were not their strongest teams and neither is this? Or do you change your approach because of the Champions League final?
I think leading up to the Champions League final, we've really stuck to our basics in the European fixtures, and we've seen those results lead to wins. So yeah, I mean, I'm actually a little bit psyched to see Zinchenko starting on the left, because we saw Mendy start and he was just lacking against those Reece James crosses. So starting him would definitely stop that Reece James threat. But yeah, I'm also thinking that Pep is overthinking right now by not playing Rodri or Fernandinho. So I'm happy. I'm like looking at this as, yes, we've got it in the bag, just there. But again, Chelsea was very nervous in the FA Cup final. So I mean, it was heartbreaking to see that one go just offside. But it's another final. There are a lot of people who have to step up tonight, and Mason Mount is playing in. So I'm looking forward to him, putting up a world-class performance. But yeah, I'm just fingers crossed, man.
Okay, fair enough. All right, I'm going to take some comments really quickly. Thank you for everyone who's getting involved. Guys, make sure you subscribe to us right now. We're always dropping amazing content for you. We have some bangers coming out in the next probably week or so. So stay tuned, hit the subscribe button, click the bell notification so you know when we upload. Okay, so Daksh Vayani, he comes in saying, come on, City. Shubham says, we here. Why are there so many City fans? This is nonsense. Daksh again saying, no CDM. All the City fans are in meltdown. Love to see it. Vani sending hearts to one of you guys. Take it or leave it. Daksh saying we were praying of no double pivot, and here he gives no one. Elite comment. That is standard behavior. Amazing. Samrit says Pep overthinking again along the same lines. Absolutely. Anand says Sterling might just miss our winning goal if he gets the chance. No joke. I would pay $1 million to see that right now. I mean, City, man, unbelievable. Anamya saying Sam Lee saying Sterling was good in training recently, finishing been good apparently. I mean, that's half a point, but he's had an absolutely shambolic season, so I have no idea how he's starting the Champions League final at the end of it. But Ritvik, you want to add something?
Yeah, I was saying precisely this comment that is highlighted. Yeah.
Oh,
I mean, right. Training makes no sense if you can't perform on the biggest stages. And there are so many players who are absolute ballers in training, but they don't do it in front of a crowd. Which reminds me, there's a good advantage to City is that we have a lot of supporters. So no matter who's playing, they'll be. I'm hearing rumors that it's a 10-1 count in terms of City to Chelsea, and I think that is it's like a home game. It's like a home game.
So we do have fans. So I mean,
no,
we do because Chelsea fans had to send their tickets back because all Chelsea fans didn't buy their tickets. So I don't know what that's about. I think it's 800 if I'm not wrong. So I don't want to make it about that, but I'm just saying that we do have fans and it's time to break that myth. But anyway, Adi, take it away.
quick point on that. The fans are not from England. They've been shipped in from Dubai. Paid them. They paid off their tickets and they've come in. Okay. Raghav says KD masterclass inbound. Well, hopefully, I mean, the lineup looks pretty sus, but hopefully this guy takes the mantle. Samrit says Jorginho is really weak sometimes. It's like he has concentration lapses. I'm sure Amogh is smiling inside reading that. I think he's nodding in agreement. Shubham says, I think he should play up front instead of Sterling. Yeah, you're right. He'll probably do a better job. And final comment before we move on. Final result depends on how many goals War is disallowed, Prakhar says. That's pretty funny. Okay.
Yeah.
We are going to move on and discuss the key battles today and, you know, which player can take on who, what damage they can do. I'm going to go to City Boys first. Who wants to go first? Key battle for you.
I'll go first.
Yeah. Go for it.
I think the key battle for me, I was discussing it with someone today, is going to be how Kyle Walker reacts to Timo Werner.
Yeah.
And how Ben Chilwell reacts to Riyad Mahrez.
Yeah.
That win is basically going to be the decider of the game, because we've seen Werner is fantastic in making those runs. Maybe he doesn't convert them, but he does provide something to the team where the team makes chances and one of them goes in, and that's the game. So Kyle Walker has to make 0 mistakes today, and if he makes those 0 mistakes, that is where the battle will be won. And on the other hand, Riyad Mahrez, we've seen he's had a fantastic season. Everything he's touching is turning to gold. And Ben Chilwell, on the other hand, is not the best defensively. Maybe that's why it's a back five. But yeah, it's just getting those crosses in, getting those dribbles in for Mahrez. That's where the game's going to be won. Shri, what do you think?
So you picked out sort of the two battles that I wanted to pick as well, because Ben Chilwell has admitted this himself that Riyad Mahrez is his toughest opponent, and there is literal proof when it comes to that, because Riyad Mahrez, the last time Ben Chilwell played for Leicester, he got absolutely destroyed. Make no mistake about that. And Timo Werner has been brilliant against City twice. Now, while he's not scored the goals to match that, his movement has been excellent, but that's also because Kyle Walker was not starting in both those games. And if there's one person who can match anyone on the planet just for pace, it's Kyle Walker. Ruben Diaz was playing that role, which is why there was space behind, because Kyle Walker was not there to marshal that right channel. So in that sense, I mean, Kyle Walker is going to be so clutch, especially because he's been absolutely brilliant this season. But a battle that I want to highlight that no one will think of is N'Golo Kante versus not Kevin De Bruyne, Bernardo Silva. Bernardo Silva is the closest thing you can get to a defensive midfielder from someone who's not at all. The amount of distance Bernardo covers is off the scale. There was this Liverpool game in the 2018-19 season where he covered around 13 kilometers. Bernardo Silva is an absolute engine. I know Adi's smiling because his team took an L. You know, as per usual, his team is not in the Champions League final, but forget that. But Bernardo Silva is going to be super important because we don't have Fernandinho in this game. We don't have Rodri in this game. And Bernardo Silva will have to be stuck to N'Golo Kante because he plays in a much deeper role these days anyway. Because it can't be a one-on-one between Gundogan and Kante because that's a mismatch anyway. So to stop N'Golo Kante, we'll need all the midfield to step up. But Bernardo's going to be key there because he runs like, you know, it's there's no tomorrow. So yeah. Ritvik, you wanted to add to that?
Yeah, and just adding to that, see, so Gundogan is not going to play an offensive role, which means Bernardo Silva is going to play in place of him. And since all the limelight is on Kevin De Bruyne, I think Bernardo Silva is going to be very important for City. Just because if everyone's looking at De Bruyne, there needs to be someone to step up and, you know, be that person, be the guy in disguise who makes something. His dribbling is going to be very important. As you said, his running is going to be very important. And yeah, I agree with you completely.
Yeah, just a comment that I want to highlight. In Daksh, you make a very good point. Daksh says Gundogan is the most important player today, without a doubt. I think what Daksh is trying to say is that because Gundogan is playing in that unfamiliar role as a regista, because I don't see him as a proper defensive midfielder, if he has a shocker, Chelsea could run right. So Daksh, that's a brilliant comment right there. I'll go to you, Amogh. You know, Ritvik touched on Ben Chilwell not being the best defensively, right? Reece James has recently played as a centre-back as well. I think that happened against Jamie Vardy in the FA Cup final, and he was very good, to be fair. So is there any battle that you're concerned about? Because we've mentioned N'Golo Kante in his threat. You know, we mentioned Timo Werner and how Kyle Walker could maybe nullify him. So is there any battle that concerns you? And is there any battle that fills you with joy?
I mean, the battle that I'm interested in is basically Havertz and Mount against Diaz and Stones. Simply because I feel like Havertz can really drag you out of your position, right? So it seems to me that I feel like there's gonna be a hole in between Diaz and Stones tonight, and I feel like if we pounce on that, maybe we can get an early goal. But I also am, I wanted to point out what Ritvik had said, that Bernardo Silva is going to be probably playing a little behind, right? He'll probably be supporting Gundogan. So I feel like, if maybe Mount versus Bernardo, or even for that matter of fact, Jorginho, if he's playing against Bernardo in some sort of battle, I feel like, yeah, we will probably be able to push up higher up the pitch, because I feel Bernardo is anyways attacking minded, so he'll probably also not stay so compact. So it would be interesting to see how he supports in the defensive part of the game. And yeah, I feel like Stones could make a blunder or two, and Havertz could bounce. So that's interesting. And again, back to my first point, I feel like Zinchenko versus James. That would be something interesting to see, because both of them are really good crossers. But Reece James has that added physicality, which I see is tough to mark. So that's going to be interesting. Yeah, Adibir, you had a point.
Yeah, excellent point on Zinchenko versus James. That is my key battle, hands down. Very underrated battle. People aren't really going to be keeping an eye out for that. But I think James, he's going to help overload that City side, because they're a back four. That opens up the space a lot more for those attacking players. And I actually disagree with Ritvik. I think he said Walker versus Werner was the battle you picked out. I actually think Werner's going to be much more infield, much more straight down the middle, and make the runs in behind. So I agree he's going to give probably Diaz and Stones the problem. So those are my key battles. But quickly moving on, I want to take a quick couple of comments from Shashwat over here. Srini, if you can highlight it. He says, 9 years back, Chelsea versus Bayern was the first football match I watched fully, just because my friends at the new school couldn't stop raging about it. Now I love this club and game. Thanks to Srini and everyone for introducing me to this beautiful game. Wow, lovely, lovely story. I hope Chelsea take the spoils today and ruin the Srini's day. But anyway, quickly, I want to touch upon with you guys, a lot of the English media is making this out to be a Mount versus Foden final, which is almost testament to a recently turned 21-year-old, I think 22-year-old Mount or whatever. I wouldn't say there's pressure on them, but the sad part is that one of them is going to go home a loser today. Both of you, I'm going to come to each of you once, just touch upon their season and almost a breakout season for the next generation of England. Srini, you go first.
Right. So Mason Mount, Amogh, that's your area of concern. So you can definitely touch on him, and much better than me. Phil Foden, what can I say about him? He turned 21 yesterday. It's so odd, by the way, that Walker, Stones, and Foden have their birthdays on the same day. It's very, very odd. But anyway, what impresses me about Phil Foden is not the fact that he's a very, very good young player. There's so many good young players on the planet. What impresses me is the fact that the standards he's putting up, I don't judge him as a young player. I judge him as an actual senior player. I mean, if you had to single out the three main players that could change the scope of the game tonight, Phil Foden is 100% one of them. And the fact that he has the world at his feet while playing in an unnatural position is something that's never talked about. Phil Foden was never a winger. Phil Foden was a 10. Phil Foden was an 8. Phil Foden was never a winger. So the fact that he's doing it in an unnatural role, that just speaks volumes of how talented he is. And Pep Guardiola touched on this recently as well. I know he said that he's the most talented player he's ever coached. That's not what he actually meant. But what he meant to say is that he didn't meet Lionel Messi when he was 17 years old. And at 17 years old, Phil Foden is undoubtedly the biggest talent he's met. And he's coached the likes of Kingsley Coman as well. He promoted a young Sergio Busquets as well. So that speaks volumes. And Phil Foden is a big game player. He's done it against Liverpool. I mean, Adibir knows what he did against Liverpool. He's done it against Chelsea. He's done it against Spurs. The guy's just so clutch. And yeah, man, I mean, if Phil Foden has an incredible game, we will absolutely forget about this lineup. Because Phil Foden is the kind of person to have one half of football where he's not as good, but in the second half, he will destroy your team, as Adibir knows. But Ritvik, you want to touch on Lionel Foden?
Man, my stockport Iniesta. I mean, you said it all. It's just he saved us this season, I think.
Yep.
We didn't have a striker. We didn't have Sterling wasn't in top form. We didn't have a striker. Jesus wasn't in top form. I mean, who Mahrez usually doesn't play for City. This is his first season that he properly played. He played 13 games last season, and he stepped up. We were 8th in December. Phil Foden wasn't starting. Phil Foden came in, we're first. Win the Champions League final. That's all you need to know. He scores. Pep said this, that it doesn't matter that he misses 3 chances because he forgets about them in a second and he'll score the next one, which is what happened in the Champions League. And I think it's very important for him to do that and not become a Sterling, as you might call it, where you miss a chance and you lose everything. You lose your confidence. And yeah, absolute game changer, as Anand says.
Yeah, I mean, just quickly, I just wanted to highlight Anand's comment. He's saying that I'm right about Foden, absolute game changer. Yeah, man, exactly. And he is just such a brilliant player. But yeah, Adi, you were saying?
Amogh, I just wanted to go to you about Mount really quickly, then we move into the next one.
Mount is Mr. Chelsea, man. He's everyone's son. He's stepped up. I mean, imagine, imagine 2 seasons ago he was at Derby. Okay, he was playing under Lampard. He had an excellent season and he's adapted so quickly. Okay, yeah. I mean, I'll be honest. I have been watching Phil Foden since he played in India in the World Cup, under-17 World Cup, and his performance against Dortmund, just recently was a masterclass. So, I mean, I see him having a really successful future. But yes, Chelsea is, right now in a state where without Mason Mount, we don't have that sort of energy. And I think that, he's been putting in a lot of hard work. Okay, like I'll give you an example. Thiago at Bayern Munich, he might not be the most skillful player, but he's the most hardworking player, right? He used to play passes in and out. He used to do the defensive work. He was able to push his career from Barca, just under the likes of Xavi and Iniesta to be the king at Bayern Munich. And similarly, I see that sort of chapter emerging for Mount. He's putting in all the hard work. He's a Lampard regen. He's making the most chances than any other English player in the league, just behind Bruno Fernandes in the Premier League. And I mean, performances against the biggest opponents like Madrid and Liverpool, it says a lot, man. It says a lot.
Yeah, I just want to say that no matter what happens today, these 2 boys are probably gonna play in many, 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 many more finals and are gonna be the forefront of their clubs. As a neutral, I'm very excited for both of them, and I think everybody in England, everybody who watches the English Premier League is. And Adi, yeah, you're smiling.
I'm just saying, guys, make sure you leave a like. This was a very heartfelt moment from all these 3. Very, very cute to watch. Okay, we're gonna move into the next one. Ishita Malik, really interesting comment over here, which gets into the next segment really well, actually. One dark horse each to watch out for from both the teams. So I'm going to twist the question a bit. One dark horse and your player to watch, obviously. I'm going to go Srini first.
All right. So one dark horse. That is a tough question right there. It's very, very difficult. I'll be honest. For a dark horse, I'll go for Zinchenko. Just because he has been singled out, and I totally disagree with that, by the way. I think when you compare Benjamin Mendy and Alexander Zinchenko defensively, there's a world of a difference. Zinchenko proved himself against the likes of Mbappe and Neymar. I don't think, Reece James poses a threat. I'm not denying that. He's a brilliant fullback. I'm not concerned about his performances. And even if you see James go past him or put in a cross past him, Zinchenko has the mentality to stay and not lose his head, which is why he's just such a brilliant player and such a mentality monster. The player to watch out for quickly is Kevin De Bruyne. I just think he saves his best for Chelsea. He is the best midfielder in the world. The way he drives us forward is, it's almost tangible, but it's not. And he is just a brilliant midfielder. And against Everton, interestingly enough, while he's had a brilliant season, but by his own standards, it's not been at his very, very peak. I have to say that his performance against Everton was probably his best of the season. I think he completed 6 dribbles. He was absolutely ridiculous. And yeah, man, can't wait to watch him remind Chelsea what they missed out on. So that's those are my picks. Ritvik, what are your picks?
I think key player has to be Kevin De Bruyne. He wants to get that against Chelsea. He always plays well against Chelsea. And I feel his game is going to be the make or break, because he's the one who supplies the balls to Foden and Mahrez, who score in the end. And I feel the dark horse is going to be Ilkay Gundogan. I hope it's Ilkay Gundogan, because he's playing in an unfamiliar role, and he's not the most important player for us, but his performance matters the most for us today. If he doesn't play well, then it's shambles, absolutely. But if he puts in a masterclass and Pep's overthinking work somehow, then yeah, we've won it then. That's pretty much it for me. Amogh, what do you think?
For this fixture, I think my dark horse is going to be Ben Chilwell because I feel like he is the top scoring assister for the club right now. And one thing goes about it is that yes, he's got a task today to mark Mahrez. Okay, and marking him is the toughest that any opposing defender can ask for. And I feel like if he's able to get that right and control that part of the game, then the attacking chances for City are going to diminish. I feel like
Yeah.
if he gets it right, again, there's likelihood that we lift the trophy today. But I also feel like in the case of City, another dark horse has to be Zinchenko. I mean, again, I'm favoring wingbacks at the moment because it's been tough with the competition with Mendy, but Mendy has always been injured, and he again is a very talented left back, and I feel like he's brought a lot to his element of the game in this season, and without him, I wouldn't have seen City be able to at least push up as much and maybe supply that De Bruyne Zinchenko partnership I've seen a lot this season, which is really one sort of key element on attacking the left. So I'm looking forward to those two having a good game today. But yeah, those are my two dark horses, and my pick would definitely be Havertz today. I feel like he's gonna draw out the defense, and if he puts up a good performance, there's a good chance we win it.
All right, fair enough.
Yeah.
Okay, for everyone in the comments and everyone watching, I have a trivia question for you, so make sure you get involved in the comments right now. My question is this: how many English clubs have won the European Cup / Champions League? Name them, and you get a bonus point if you name how many titles each they have. Don't Google it. Let us know in the comments. I'm going to take some comments really quickly before we move on. Okay, Anand says the only surprise City fans wanted was for Aguero to start, but Pep had something different in mind. Great point. I think it would have been a really good swan song for for Aguero to be starting, hopefully scoring and win the Champions League. But that's not how life works out. So get out, go to Barca. You're not required here anymore. Look at the City fans. Look at these guys fuming. No, I'm kidding. Respect. Okay. Next call. Rohan says Edison with the last minute winner. Imagine the scenes. That's only for goats like Alison Becker. Leave it. Leave it. Anand says.
On the bench for
Is he in the Champions League final? I don't know what's going on, man.
He's already won it. He's already won it.
Yeah. Adil, I think you should not be a part of this live, honestly. I think all of us should
I
handle
don't
it,
see
honestly.
any red tonight, mate.
I mean, yeah, man, these guys were shedding tears over making top four, man. Come on. Respect, like Jose Mourinho says. But let's move on.
No comment. Okay, Samrit says Zinchenko can take a bullet for the team. Big game player today. Excellent performance in the last two legs as well. I think he's the reason City went through, so big ups to him. Srini, I'm going to come to you now for this. Okay, City's first ever Champions League final. City got a lot of stick for being this absolute banter club, new money and all that, which is absolutely true. But explain to us non-City, as non-City fans, what it means to see City in a final. What does it mean to the both of you? Yeah, Srini, take it away.
I just love how unbiased you are, man. It's just absolutely amazing. So credit to you. Yeah, I think this perception exists, and I can kind of understand why it exists because we are new money. I'm not denying that. But there's also a lot about City that people have no idea about. I mean, the club was started by a female, which is a very rare thing. Anna Connell was her name, if I'm not wrong, in 1887 in Wharton, which is an area in Manchester. It was formed by her and two church wardens as well. And the reason why it was formed is because during those days, there was a lot of unemployment in Manchester. There was a lot of alcoholism there. And just for humanitarian purposes, a football club was started. There used to be a cricket club, but it wouldn't run during like the winter months. So that's why this football club's existence was for the people. And while people may talk about why this is the most important game for City in their history, it's not. 1999, we played Gillingham in the third tier of English football. And if we hadn't won that game, and I know it's funny, but if we hadn't won that game, we'd go into administration and be liquidated. And we were losing 2-0 to Gillingham. And similar to an Aguero moment, 90th minute, 95th minute, 2 goals were scored. We won on pens. And yeah, man. And then we, of course, got the new money and the Aguero moment. And here we are. So, and this fan base, for all the fans in 1999 who had no hope of seeing a Sergio Aguero, who had no hope of seeing Phil Foden, who may win the Champions League, who is one of their own, I think it's huge for them. And it's because of fans like that and because of all the hard work from honest City fans and just working class members of that club that, we are where we are. So, Adi, you can smile all you want, but you're not in the Champions League final, mate. So, yeah, man, that's pretty much it.
That was very well said, Srini. I'll give you that much.
Yeah, I just wanted to add on that. Like people, most City fans, at least from Manchester, they expect just playing in the Premier League. They're happy with that. And to reach where we are right now is a and
We go for the trophies, mate. We go for the trophies.
No, you don't. We dominate English football. What are you talking about, man?
don't
That's just
spoil
wrong,
our,
man.
don't spoil our moment, Amogh.
Yeah, don't spoil. This is
It's
hard
after
fun. There's a comment that I need to take, and Ishita, you're spot on. Adibir is mentally, no, he's not mentally speaking through this history lesson. He was literally sleeping through it. Very, very disrespectful and rude, which is why karma has come to bite him back, and which is why his team is on the Champions League final. Go on.
Can I reply to that? I don't have to sleep through it because it can be recapped in 2 minutes. Your history started in 2008, so
Yeah.
move on.
By the way, guys, if you are on Twitter, Adi is
There's
an
a
FP
pillow,
account.
Adi. There's a
I don't know
pillow.
that, but he is. But anyway, sorry, let's move on.
Okay, we're going to move on really quickly. We're going to wrap this up. Predictions and scorers for the biggest game of the season. I'm going to get Amogh to kick us off.
Chelsea 2-1, man. I see this probably going to extra time, not because it's an all-English final, but I think it's going to be all square for a while. I feel like De Bruyne is going to score one. I feel like Mount is going to score one. And I think the winner has to be Timo Werner. Okay? It just, with all the bad luck of, it's just tradition now that he's scoring goals, but they're always ruled offside by VAR. Just want him to get one. Let it be the most memorable. Let him be treated like Torres for a while. Let him get that goal to silence everyone, knowing that he's made it for our history books. And so I see that being something that's going to highlight this game. And I feel like it's going to go to extra time because there's a lot of pace on both sides of the team, but it's going to be equally matched for most of the game. But yeah, the game I feel is going to be won in the. We say the midfield, but I think it's going to be defensive error maybe that I see that maybe that's going to cause someone to concede. But 2-1 Chelsea, let's bring it home.
Okay, fair enough. Srini, you want to go next?
Yeah, I mean, why not? My prediction has been, I've actually, usually when I come on the show, I predicted like on the show itself. And by the way, guys, I did predict that it would be a City-Chelsea final. You can check back the tapes. That is facts when the draw came out, right? But yeah, I mean, my prediction should change because of the lineup. But hey, it is what it is. I'm saying 1-0 City. It's going to be a very cagey game. I think first 15 minutes, I actually expect Chelsea to absolutely blow us apart because City don't start well. City will get into it gradually, and in the second half, they'll show personality and win the game. Kevin De Bruyne, 67th minute winner, low drill finish. It is what it is. Champions League, baby. Let's get it. Ritvik, you?
I think it's gonna be KG as always, but I think as you said, first 15 minutes we're not gonna play well, and I think Chelsea are gonna open the scoring. They're gonna go with, I think Werner's gonna score somehow. He's gonna manage it from his thigh, from his shoulder somehow, and then we're gonna come back, and I feel it's gonna be Ilkay Gundogan of all people to silence his critics. Where he's playing today, he's gonna score one. And then off the bench, it's going to be my man who deserves it more than anybody else. Sergio Kun. Let's win it for him. The one person who we need to win it for. Not Kompany, not Silva, not Yaya Toure, not Zabaleta. It's him. The man who started all for us and the man who will end it all for us. The perfect send-off. Let's go.
No, for you. Oh, wait, you've told us your predictions. Sorry. Adi, for you.
I'll go. I think I'm going to be realistic and go 2-0 City. I think first half it'll be KG, 0-0. And I think around the 70th minute, City is going to get their 2 goals. I hope I'm wrong, and I want anyone to save this who thinks it's worth saving. If Chelsea win tonight, I promise that I will get the Pulisic jersey with Pulisic 10 on the back, or the New England kit with Mount at the back. Not the New Zealand kit, because it is really ugly. Chelsea need to save football tonight. You have the entire weight of the world on your shoulders. Make us proud. And yeah, quickly, by the way, guys, if it goes to penalties, who are your 5 picks going to be? And really quickly, for anyone that says Edison, I've seen a lot of stuff on social media saying Edison scored 10 out of 11 penalties in training. Yeah, that's in training. Even Lewandowski scores like 15 or 16, so he can still miss it. That's not the point. But
Ederson was part of a gang in Brazil before he played football. He's a gang member. Do you think 30,000 fans are going to scare him? Do you really think?
I'm not even going to respond.
Don't snitch on Ederson.
Your 5, Srini. Who are your 5?
Oh Lord! All right. So, guys, by the way, quick rule: no analysis. Just give us your 5 pen rakers, and then we need to go. I want to watch this final, right? Gundo goes first, right? Second, I'd go with. Oh God, I'm blanking right now. Okay, no order. Gundo, Mahrez, Kevin De Bruyne. I'd still back Sergio Aguero. And have I talked about Riyad Mahrez? Have I said Riyad Mahrez? Yes or no? If I haven't, then Riyad Mahrez. Okay, I have said Riyad Mahrez. Oh, I'd probably go for Phil Foden. Although if Ederson is confident, I'd actually give him a shot. So yeah, those are my picks. Ritvik, you?
Yeah, I think pretty much what you said. I wouldn't go for Foden as of now. I'd go for Ederson, Mahrez, De Bruyne, Gundogan, and Aguero. Those are my 5 picks.
Amogh?
Anyone but Jorginho.
He scores penalties. What? I think Amogh is frozen.
Yeah, I know.
Jorginho.
When it comes to a final, I'm really scared.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, I see it as Aspi first. Okay, Werner second, Mount third. Let's go for Thiago Silva fourth, and Kai Havertz fifth.
Oh man, can someone highlight Samrit's comment, please? I want to laugh a bit.
What is Samrit's comment? Oh yes. David De Gea. I mean, if Ederson plans to take penalties like David De Gea, then please be my guest and don't do so. But guys, let's quickly wrap up. Adi, tell us your penalty takers, and then let's call it a day.
I mean, I was just thinking, am I really gassed about the penalty takers? Not really, man. Just as long as Chelsea get it done, I do not care. So I'm not going to get into it. But I'm wishing both of you, all you guys, the best for tonight. You're playing. It's the biggest stage in world football. So the best team hopefully wins tonight. We have an excellent game, and hopefully it's not like the Liverpool versus Spurs All English final, which was one of the dullest games I've ever seen. So yeah, Amogh is pumped. Everyone's pumped. Guys, make sure that you guys like, share, subscribe. Like I said, amazing content is always coming on MTAG TV. These boys are fire. It's a pleasure working with them as always. And yeah, Champions League final. Hope you guys have a good one. And we move.
Let's go!